Here we are, back with Nellie Choc. The second book in the series is called Big Trouble for Nellie Choc. I've got to find the first page. Nellie Choc is very interesting and really quite famous too. Why is that, I hear you ask? You did ask, didn't you? Well, I'll tell you. Nellie Choc is the greatest penguin explorer the world has ever known. In fact, she was the first penguin ever to travel from the South Pole, where she lived, all the way up to the North Pole, where she didn't live. But that is the story in another book. Nellie didn't go on this journey on purpose. It was a mistake, a big one, which is why I have put it in big letters. Nellie Choc often makes mistakes, as you are about to find out for yourself. When Nellie found out that she had arrived at the North Pole by mistake, she knew she needed to go home, back to the South Pole. Luckily, a nice submarine came along, a bit like a bus, but underwater. It stopped at the North Pole and Captain Beardy Beard spotted Nellie with his periscope. Oops. "I'll take you back home to the South Pole," he told her. That was helpful of him, wasn't it? It made Nellie very happy. You see, Nellie has got lots and lots of friends and family at the South Pole, as well as Small Ma and Small Pa, and she was missing them a lot. So she climbed on to Captain Beardy Beard's submarine and scrambled down the hatch. But Nellie left the hatch door open. That was mistake number 2. If the submarine went underwater with the hatch open, then all the water in the sea would come flooding in. It was lucky that Jez spotted the open door. Jez was a member of the submarine crew. He shut the hatch door, clang, bang, and off they went. Vroom, vroom. Nellie was very surprised that the submarine could stay underwater for such a long time. "How does it breathe?" she asked Captain Beardy Beard. He laughed and said submarines didn't need to breathe. It was a machine. Nellie didn't know what a machine was, but she nodded all the same. You see, she didn't want to feel stupid, so she pretended to know. Maybe you do that sometimes too. Nobody likes to feel they don't know something. They sailed on and on in the submarine. There wasn't much to see under the water, but Nellie enjoyed looking out of the little round windows. She liked to spot fish. She was very good at spotting fish because most penguins are, and that is because they like to eat fish. Pretty soon Nellie began to feel hungry. But there was a problem with the submarine. "Something's wrong with the engine, Captain," Jez said. "It's making a funny noise." Oh dear. Everyone in the crew stopped work and listened to the funny noise in the submarine. Yes, there it was again, an odd rumbly-grumbly sound. The crew went to the engine room. But that wasn't where the noise was coming from. That was a big surprise. If it wasn't the engine, what on earth was it? "I'll help you," Nellie told the captain. She thought that if she helped, it would take her mind off how hungry she was, and so she followed the captain. He shook his head. "It's very odd," he said. "That noise is even louder now, but I still can't tell where it's coming from. It's almost as if the noise is following me." "Yes, I can hear it too," Nellie Choc said. "It's very loud, isn't it?" Captain Beardy Beard looked at the little penguin. He put his hands on his hips and he frowned. "Nellie Choc, I do declare that rumbly-grumbly noise is coming from you." "Me?" Nellie replied. "Yes, you. I think you must be hungry. It's your rumbly-grumbly tummy that's making all that noise. Your tummy sounds like an earthquake." "I think you mean a tummy quake," Captain Jez said with a smile and wink at Nellie. "Well, I am a little bit hungry as it happens," Nellie agreed. "I've been watching the mackerel swim about in the sea, and I do like mackerel. Maybe we could stop and have some for tea." So they did. It was a very nice tea, with sponge cake for the crew and fish cake for Nellie. After tea, Nellie said thank you to the captain because even if she sometimes made mistakes, she was also a very polite penguin and had very good manners. The crew caught lots more mackerel for Nellie. They put it in the freezer so that there would always be some mackerel for Nellie, even when the submarine was deep under the sea. You wouldn't want to run out of food, would you? Of course not. You might have a tummy quake. The submarine sailed on for another 3 days. On the 4th day, Jez checked all the controls and buttons on the submarine and went to Captain Beardy Beard. "Sorry to report, Captain," he said with a smart salute. "We seem to be low on diesel." Nellie Choc heard Jez talking to the captain. She asked them what diesel was. Captain Beardy Beard tried to explain. "We need diesel. It's what makes the submarine go." "How does diesel work?" Nellie asked. She always had more questions than answers. Jez smiled. "Well," he began, "diesel is fuel. It's sort of energy, like when you eat mackerel and the mackerel gives you energy and helps you go." Nellie jumped up and down. "I love to eat mackerel," she said. Jez nodded. "Well, the submarine eats diesel for its fuel, and that is what makes the submarine go." Nellie nodded, and this time she felt she really did understand. She didn't feel stupid at all. Captain Beardy Beard patted Nellie's head. "Don't worry," he told her. "We're quite near to New York. We'll stop in port there and pick up some diesel." And that is what she did. When they got to New York, Captain Beardy Beard and most of the crew went off to get diesel. Nellie was left on board the submarine with 2 members of the crew to look after her. That was because the captain didn't want Nellie to wander off and get lost in the big city. But getting lost wasn't the problem at all. No, something far more dangerous was about to happen. Nellie sat in Jez's cabin and stared out of the window. She was getting very bored. New York looked so exciting. The buildings were huge. "Are the buildings so tall because they need to hold up the sky?" Nellie asked herself. "Maybe the sky over New York is wobbly." All of a sudden there was a loud bang, 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 and Nellie had to stop thinking about New York. Then there was a lot of shouting and running about. After that there was a noisy splash, and after that another noisy splash. Nellie thought she heard a gurgling shout of help, but it might have been health. Nellie knew that health wasn't a real word, so she took no notice. That was a mistake. All of a sudden, the door to Jez's cabin was almost smashed off its frame, and a big man burst into the room. Nellie took one look at the man and she started to giggle. The man was wearing a paper bag over his head with 2 eye holes cut into it so that he could see. "Don't you laugh at me," the man yelled, and he pointed a toy space gun at Nellie. "This is a hijack." Nellie had no idea what a hijack was. She thought it must be a way of saying hello, like "Hi Sam" or "Hi Joe." "Hijack," she said with a giggle. "That's right," the big man growled. "Now, take me to Panama." Nellie scratched one foot with her other foot. "Sorry, Jack," she said. "I don't know anyone called Panama. Can you see all right with that bag over your head?" "Of course I can, bird brain," the big man growled. "My name isn't Jack." "Oh, I thought you said it was." "Why are you wearing a bag on your head?" Nellie asked. "It's a mask, bird brain, so nobody will recognise me," the big man shouted. "But it's so easy to recognise you," cried Nellie. "You've got a bag on your head." "Bird brain," the man yelled, "take me to Panama." Nellie was getting cross. The big man was so noisy and rude. He had no manners at all. "I told you," she snapped. "I don't know who Panama is." "It's a country, not a person, bird brain. Now take me there," he shouted. He waved his space gun at her again. "You don't have to shout," Nellie told him. "Why don't you ask nicely? Good manners cost nothing." Small Pa told me that, and Small Pa never shouted at me either, even when I bit her foot by mistake and it made her jump and she fell off the iceberg and "Shut up and take me to Panama," the big man yelled. The cops are on my tail." Nellie didn't understand that at all. Cops? Tail? The big man didn't have a tail. Nellie looked and looked at him, but there was no tail. And if there was no tail, how could it have cops on it? And what were cops anyway? Nellie was very puzzled, but she went off to see what she could do to help. Nellie liked to help. Maybe you like to help too. It's good to do something useful, isn't it? Nellie pushed some buttons to get the engine to start, but nothing happened. Then she remembered what Jez had told the captain. There was no diesel left. The submarine couldn't go anywhere without more diesel. Nellie scratched one foot with the other again. She was thinking hard. Suddenly she had the answer. The submarine needed fuel, something to give it energy. And what gave energy to Nellie was fish, and lots of it. Was Nellie Choc Ice going to make another mistake? Don't know. Catch up later. Bye.